Hello everybody, welcome back to another tutorial. Some of you watched the last video maybe where I explained the order book and I used Bybit as example here. I explained the order book in detail. I also received a few questions afterwards, so I thought let's do a follow-up video. And in case you didn't watch the previous one, don't worry, I'll quickly repeat the basics here and then I'll focus on something new, the depth chart that you might have seen before and it might be a mystery to you. So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the order book. A depth chart is related to that, but I haven't covered it in the previous video. So I'll quickly repeat the basics and then, yeah, we'll focus on this and also the percentage indicators below the order book specifically. Haven't talked about those in the last video. So just a reminder, yeah, this is the order book and it is the list of all open buy and sell orders on an exchange, in this case Bybit, which is the exchange I mainly use. At the top, in red, you can see the sell orders, and that's also called the ask side. At the bottom in green, you see the buy orders, and that's called the bid side. And to keep it simple, bid means buy it, and ask means sell it. The price in the middle, here, is the last traded price, and the gap between the highest bid, down here, and the gap between the highest bid and the lowest ask, which is here, is called the spread. And this is basically very, very small when you have an asset which is very, very liquid, where there's a lot of liquidity. Sometimes when you have, for example, an altcoin chart that's not frequently traded, or an exchange where there's not a lot of volume, not many traders on that exchange, you might have a huge spread. Okay, limit orders sit in the book. Those orders that you see here, they are limit orders. They just sit in the book and they provide liquidity. And market orders, you can select that here on the right-hand side, they cross the spread and actually move the price. That's the foundation we already covered in the previous video. Very, very important to understand the difference. Limit orders don't move price. Market orders do. Most institutions use limit orders. Most retail traders use market orders, and they just cross the spread because, you know, eventually these sell orders will be bought up, or these buy orders will just be, you know, the price will just move through here if there is a lot of selling going on. And these buy orders will be filled eventually, yeah, but it will drive the price lower if there are not enough buy orders to cover the selling pressure, okay? And that essentially moves price. Now, let's take a look at this depth chart. I mean, normally when you are on an exchange, most people will spend their time here, standard or trading view overview, but there is the depth chart, which can be quite useful. Now, here on Bybit, you can switch to this view by just clicking on depth right next to the order book. What you see here is a graph with two colors, essentially. On the left, obviously green, and these are the buy orders. Yeah, they are related to the order book. These are basically the buy orders. And on the right, in red, you have the sell orders. In the middle, again, the current market price. Basically the last traded price, that is. It's basically what you find here. And so that's also why this kind of here in the middle, yeah, this is kind of just vertical. This is where it starts, okay? Yeah, and basically what happens here, you have this vertical line, this is where it starts, this is kind of the market price, and then you have this flat bit here, and then it suddenly goes steeper and steeper on both sides, right? Left and right. And so what is that? Well, these are, as I said, the orders, and where it's going up, it basically shows you that, especially here, like, you know, you see here where my mouse is, it's suddenly jumping on the buy order side, right? On the left-hand side here. It basically shows you that at this exact level, a big block of orders has been placed. But as you can see, it's gone away already. So they're already being filled. Things are moving. They are smoothing out and everything. It's basically smoothing out. So this is very dynamic because this is basically the order book in real time, just visualized differently. And when you have a sudden jump somewhere, yeah, so maybe now here on the sell order side, you have a sudden jump. That's exactly where a big block of orders has been placed. And traders sometimes call that a wall of liquidity. Now, you see below this chart here the actual price, right? Here, huge block of orders, suddenly here, right? And you see what price that is. And you see how dynamic that is. And yeah, that's usually called a wall of liquidity. And if you look at the shape of the chart, I mean, if the green side has a steep wall somewhere, it doesn't have right at this moment, but it will probably here maybe a little bit around 114,400, then that shows strong buy support in that area. And if the red side here, selling, has a strong, like a jump here at around 114,445, well, that shows strong sell resistance in that area. And if one side is clearly bigger than the other, I would say at the moment maybe the buy side a little stronger, but it's very dynamic, right? It's not, it's very it's dynamic, but also quite balanced at the moment, I would say, when we talk about Bitcoin here, yeah. But if one side is clearly bigger than the other, or you notice their tendencies, then you can tell at a glance whether there are more buy orders or more sell orders sitting in the book. But again, that's very dynamic. Now, you might have noticed that the chart suddenly stops and falls here on both sides, like here on the right-hand side especially, it's noticeable, right? It's like a gap, okay? Now, that doesn't mean there are no more orders in the market. It's just the limit of the view, okay? Bybit shows only a certain range around the current price. Maybe, yeah, what is that? Maybe $100 or so, okay? So this is for short-term trading. Beyond that, the chart just cuts off. So the drop you see is just the edge of the display, essentially, right? So this makes the depth chart a quick and simple way to see the immediate balance of buyers and sellers. But if you really want to look at much larger zones of liquidity, for example, you know, what's beyond that, like what's around 110K or so, well, then you know, you might want to check external tools like Coinalyze or CoinGlass potentially. But that can be very helpful, especially for short-term traders. Now let's also talk about here what is below the order book here. You see it's very balanced, 50% green, 50% red. Now, what does that mean? Now, these are the percentages that you see under the order book. And it's simply a measure of how much liquidity is on each side of the book. Bybit takes basically all the buy orders here and all the sell orders and then shows you that ratio, okay, in a certain range here, obviously only, right? So it's not, you don't see all the buy orders all the way down to 100K or something. No, but you see a certain range, and then Bybit shows you the ratio between them. So if it says 50-50, the order book is balanced. If it shows 70% buy and 30% sell, that means in the visible range there are a lot more buy orders waiting than sell orders. So this doesn't guarantee the price direction because market orders can always eat through those orders. But it's a nice quick way to see the current balance of power between buyers and sellers. Limit orders, remember, they're just limit orders. Now, still the wrap up. So the order book lists basically all the bids and asks. The depth chart that I showed you here, yeah, with this kind of accumulating buy and sell orders, it shows you the cumulative version of those orders. So you can easily see liquidity walls visually, much easier than over here. Okay, the percentages under the book here, they just show you basically the balance between buyers and sellers. So this was a short follow-up on the last video, but also explained the order book again and the depth chart. So if you haven't seen the first tutorial yet, I recommend that you watch that as well for the full explanation of bids, asks, spreads, makers and takers. I will link it at the end of the video. And as always, if you found this helpful, you can support the channel by checking out our Bybit partner link in the description. It's the exchange that I personally use. We've also partnered with them, and if you sign up there, you also get access to some nice bonuses like a 10% reduction in trading fees for the first 30 days, for example. All right, thanks so much. Bye-bye.